All right.
Oh no, and they put a mic on me.
Your second class for today. We have Her Grace Antigone here to cover what is heard, which is kind of the household.
Yeah,
right?
that is.
And that household consists of a lot of great fighters from Antigone and a few other places.
Yeah.
And there's a class that's been being taught all kind of around the SCA right now, and we taught it last year, and she's going to talk about some of the things that I asked her to kind of change it a little bit, and she's going to focus it up, because I went home and used this class a lot with all my people, and I think it was really important that everybody knew it's just for everybody.
Yeah. So this class was repackaged from our small fighter body and shot mechanics class. It is very similar to the class that I taught last year. It is incredibly almost identical to the class that Sir Helga is teaching on her travels currently in the past 2 years. So this system, what we did is we took the fundamental system that Duke Spen of our household, along with several other people, kind of built and developed over time, crossing over from foam fighting into SCA. And he took that, kind of developed a system, and then she and I said, well, we need to make some adjustments for this and that and so forth. And so we spent a 3-day weekend plus a whole Gulf War just trying to adjust and adapt it and figure out, fine-tune things. And so this is kind of what we came up with after that. This is for everybody. It works for anybody and everybody. The difference is that if you are a tall individual with mass, you aren't going to have as much problem generating enough force with your swings, with your shot mechanics, and you're not going to need as much body mechanics necessarily because you have enough mass behind it and enough strength behind it. The less you have of that, the better your fundamental shot and body mechanics must be. The smaller you are, the better it has to be, and up to the point of almost perfection when you're at my size. So in order for me to, throw a very good calling blow, I have to have all of my body mechanics and my shot mechanics all lined up almost perfectly, which is somewhat great for me because it's really forced me to become very good at this, understand it. It's because it's forced me to be a technically more sound fighter than some of my counterparts who are very large. They don't have to do all this stuff. So they can just be in any position and lazily throw a shot in and it gets called. I don't have that luxury. So, and a lot of other people don't as well. So there is going to be some caveats to this. Number one, this system does not use hip rotation that a lot of these East Side, especially kingdoms, use. It does use a little bit, but it is not a full hip rotation. That does not come into play here. And the reason why is because this system, the original fundamental base, is based off of the understanding that you're going to be fighting with 2 weapons. Not necessarily just 2 swords, but 2 weapons in your hands. And because of that, you don't have a shield to hide your body behind to do a lot of those hip rotations. And you don't have the time either, because you don't have a shield to give you time and to buy it for you. So you have to kind of create time by having a lot smaller of a movement. And then you also have to be careful of this all goes into posture and other things we're going to talk about. And so because it was developed in that way, a lot of people think that, we're trying to say this is a better way. It's not necessarily a better way. It's just a different way. It's another option for you in your toolbox, and you can decide if it works for you or not. If it doesn't work for you, please, by all means, do something else. I think you have to decide what works best for you, and if you aren't sure, you have to find somebody that can help you and learn that. So, with that further ado, are there any questions about anything I've said so far? Nope. Great. Okay. So we are going to start with some very, very, very basic things. And the first thing is we're not even going to pick up a weapon. If you have a weapon, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too. But the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to start with how we stand. So everybody's going to stand up. You're all comfortable, I know. We're all going to stand up now. Excellent. Fantastic. So we're all going to go ahead and get into our fighting stance. What is your fighting stance? And we may have to all be a little comfortable with each other in the space we have. So get into your fighting stance. How do you stand? Great. Okay, so. Okay, thank you. All right. So a lot of fighting stances, especially this, they start, if you're a rotational, you're going to start back here, right? Or if you're a fencer, a lot of times you see the fencer start very much like here. Or if you're like our friend here, you're like this. So what we want to do instead, as we're learning this, is we want to create a neutral stance. So has everybody done an air squat? Everybody knows what an air squat is?
Yep.
Okay, so, no, you don't?
Can you do one?
Can you, oh yeah, I can do it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my feet about shoulder width apart. If you are really, really short, then you want it slightly wider than that. Or if you're a wide individual, you might want a little bit wider than that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go and we're going to keep our chest still pointed up and don't look down, still be looking up. Like I'm going to look at Killian here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my butt and I'm just going to go straight down while keeping this posture. Right? So, air squat. And if you need to put your hands up, that's great, right? So,
if you can't go all the way down,
that's okay. You don't have to.
Just go down to where you can.
Just go down to where you can. So, what we're establishing here is this right here requires you to have a stable base so you don't fall forward and so you don't fall back, right? So, if you feel like you're falling forward or back, it's because you either are breaking at the waist here, or you're breaking at the waist back here, or you're looking down, which pulls your head and your shoulders forward. So that's why I start off with this, because it kind of helps you get, this is where the base is. So once we've established our neutral base, now we can start talking about everything else. The first thing that we're going to do after that is we're actually going to start top down. A lot of people start bottom up with how they teach some of their body mechanics. This is actually a top down in the way we teach it. It works better for us. If it's raining really bad, you can please, by all means, it's fine. I don't mind. So, what we're going to do is in our neutral stance that we found, and we are now understand what it is.
I still have room. You guys can. Somebody can come over here.
Yeah, you guys can.
And
I'll turn around too. But and if you're in your neutral stance and your feet are like this, take your toes and point them forward for me. There you go. That way, the reason why is I want your knees over your toes this way, pointing forward. Fantastic. Great. Awesome. You're a little wide. Still a little wide. Perfect. Excellent. Yes. Okay. So from here, we're going to kind of relax our shoulders a little bit, get them a little bit loose. If you can't do that, that's another problem we can talk about later. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our shoulder blades and we're going to put them like we're trying to shove them into our back pockets if we're wearing pants. All right. So as soon as we do that, right, what happens to my chest? What happens to your chest? It opens up, right? So now that I've opened my chest, then what happens to my neutral stance? Do I feel like, am I kind of neutral anymore? No. Now I'm right. My head and my shoulders are all kind of back. So now we have to kind of adjust for that, right? So once we're here, now what we're going to do is we are going to adjust. There's a couple of different ways you can adjust for this. The easiest way we found is to imagine you have a string in your belly button, and we're going to pull that string from your belly button up through your spine like this. So if I'm here and I have a string in my belly button, I'm going to like pull up there. Make sense? Okay. You've taken this before, see it. Yeah. So instead of my chest is still open, and instead of being like this and kind of having my towards you guys, I'm gonna tuck it back in. So this is also if you have done any belly dancing or anything like that, that's literally you're tucking your pelvis back in and just sitting in your pelvis. So is anybody having problems with that? No? Yeah, you're fine. You're good? Okay, cool, thanks. Nessa is helping me, by the way. This is Nessa, Her Royal Majesty of the Mid-Realm. And so she's helping me keep an eye on things. So now that we have done this part and we fixed our hips, now what we want to see, and if you're looking in a mirror, what you want to see is you want to be able to put a straight pole straight through middle of my head all the way down, and it be straight all the way through my body. It won't look like a curve like this. I'm not like this with my butt out, and I'm not like this with a weird pelvic tilt where I'm fighting like this. I am like this, which is straight down, right? And my shoulders are back. Any questions? You good, Bobby?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. She likes the rain.
Okay.
So now that we have this, and this is our posture right here that we are going to fight from. And the reason why we're going to fight from this posture is because it allows us to move anywhere. So in this posture and in this stance, you can move anywhere no matter what, right? Like I'm very comfortable. I can move anywhere, not a problem. And because my shoulders are here and I'm ready and everything is ready in my shoulders, I can throw from this position anywhere I physically want to move, and I'm free to do that movement. Rather than if I was twisted, if I threw a shot this way and I was twisted, what do you have to do in order to recover? You have to then stand up. So what does that lose? Time, right? And remember when I said this is about gaining time? This is about gaining time. So we don't lose time by having to reset ourselves either forward or backward, left or right. We're on a stable base. This works really, really well if you're in Dark Yard and have learned from Braunus and Romwalder. This is almost identical to the stuff that they teach, so this won't be any new thing to you guys. The shoulder part will, though. So the reason why we have our shoulders under tension is because once we release that tension in our shoulders, what happens? Your shoulders come forward, right? Yeah? So what happens if I'm holding a weapon and I have my shoulders back and then I release? Where's my hand going?
Forward.
Is that not where we want our sword to go?
Forward!
Forward! Exactly. So by releasing this tension, I'm already creating a piece of movement, right? I'm already giving power into my hand going forward. I'm creating momentum just by that small piece. And then once we're here, you know, it kind of can go interesting. But that's really kind of what we want to make sure we're doing is once we're here under tension, we're releasing that tension, and then it's very easy to gather the tension. You're not having to pull your hand back. I'm not having to pull this back. All I have to do is just roll my shoulders back into place, right? Like, and I'm being very extreme with this so that I can demonstrate what it looks like. This extremeness is not where you're going to fight from. You're going to fight from a little bit more relaxed position. Yes?
So I'm noticing a couple of people, though, when you're talking about returning, and you guys are kind of holding your shoulder blades like this. And this isn't it. When we come back, we're still just dropping it. It's kind of like down. So instead of squeezing a grapefruit or a grape between your shoulder blades, when we come back, it's just down and not...
Here, turn around. So what this... She has a little bit tired tunic on that. But... So essentially what we do when we're talking shoulders is a lot of people are taught squeezing a grape in between your shoulder blades. That's not what we want you to do. What we want to do is we want to take them and we want to create like a V down into our pockets. Make sense? Okay, cool. Yep.
Are we basically trying to take our shoulder blades and just make sure that they're like flat on our rib cage and not like sticking out?
Correct.
Okay.
That is another way to look at it. Yes. Thank you.
Physical therapy. Yay.
Yeah. Love physical therapy. So once we're in this position and we have a good, what we call stacked posture, we're ready here. We are now ready to throw technically, right? And most people do not need anything past this. Now that I'm here and I'm in a good position and I have a good posture to throw from, I can now just generate force from simply doing whatever mechanic it is that you want to add to it. I'll add what ours is, but from here you can generate enough force if you are a strong enough upper body person. So you're fine with it. You'd be fine with it. You're probably okay with it. Maybe. You're fine with it. Maybe.
Deeply questionable.
Right? So if you don't have that, then you have to add something to it. And so this is where we kind of add the extra piece in the body mechanic to kind of give it that extra amount of mass transference, which is also, strangely enough, what they teach as well over here, is mass transference. Physics likes physics, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to get that mass transference, what we're going to end up doing is in our posture with our shoulders down is, and now our belly button's here, and we have our core tightened. So if you have your core and your lats like tightened, when you release them under tension, it drives kind of everything forward. And then and you can do this with just your muscles and relaxing them, right? Yeah.
Trying. My muscles don't relax very much.
I told you it was a different problem. We can talk about it later. So from here, what we're going to do is we have our core, we have our shoulders. Now we're going to add the hip piece. So yes, there is a hip component to it. It is not rotational though. What it is from my hip. And at this point, I'm going to go from a neutral stance. I'm going to take my right foot because we're going to do left foot forward because most people, that's what they like. We're going to take our right foot. We're going to put it behind at a 45 slightly, just slightly. And then all we're going to do at this point is our hips now are kind of maybe pointed like this way, right? Instead of right directly on. And I'm doing this. You can fight directly on with this. You don't have to do it this way. This is for demonstration purposes so you understand the concept. I'm over-exaggerating a lot of these things and movements. So from here, all I'm going to do is, with my weight transference, is I'm going to drive my hip forward like this. And I'm not swinging it. It's not a swing. It's like I'm hip. Have you ever hip checked somebody? Like, get out of here. If you've belly danced or done any of that stuff, that's the same thing. Have I done that? Right? Like, I don't know. Is that like twerking too? I don't know. Who twerks? Is that, it's not twerking, is it? Okay. I can't do that, so I don't know. Whole different thing. All right. So, it costs a little money. Okay. I didn't bring any with me, so. All right. So from here, with our hip, we're going to do our hip like this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yep. You got it. A little too much. That's too, you don't need that much.
It's like you're moving that rotational belt when you go into like a subway where you're just like.
Right. It's just kind of like I'm going to hip check the door out of the way a little bit. And visually, what this looks like is my hips are going from this, and if you're my opponent, then my hips are finishing in line with my opponent. The key to this is my hips must always finish in line to my opponent, because that is the apex of your power, is with your body mechanics, is when my hips are lined up to my opponent. Now, I could be over here and my hips can be lined up to him. I don't have to be directly center to him. I could be off center to him, but I need my hips to be aligned up with my opponent at the end and when I'm striking.
So, question.
Yes.
Do you mean lined up with your opponent, or do you mean where you're planning to target?
Yes, sorry.
Okay,
correct.
No, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, you're correct.
Where you plan to target. Okay.
Correct. Where you plan to target. You're correct, because that's not always the same place in the body. That's a great clarification. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that is essentially the body mechanic. And so how it looks like is from here, the last part that'll help you visually is driving from your right, if you're right foot and you're doing it this way, driving from the outside the big toe of the right foot up through my body. I'm going to drive that, pop my hip, and when I do, I'm going to release this tension. Right? Too far. Still way too far. Okay. Can't touch you. Okay. All right. So all I want you to do is just pop my wrist. Yep. That's it. Too much. There you go. Yep. That's it. That's it. Just a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. So as you can see, that requires some sort of chain kinetics of body mechanics, because you have to be able to start. It flows up your body. It looks very simultaneously as you develop it, but it can also look really slow. And that's normally because people are starting to learn it and they haven't quite connected all the pieces. When all of these pieces connect, you will hit significantly harder than you probably intended to, quite honestly, once you connect all these pieces. Simply because it uses body mass transference. It's going to use the kinetics and the chain of kinetics all the way through your body, along with your actual muscle structure, not just in your arms or your forearms or your biceps, but through your shoulders, your lats, your core, and so forth. So that actually becomes incredibly powerful, unless you're me, and then it's just normal. All right, any questions about that piece? No. Okay. So then now, if there's no questions about that piece and everybody kind of understands it, Nessa, you were looking at everybody. Everybody was pretty good, other than our... Yes.
I did have a question.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. The last little piece when we're talking about moving the hip,
Yeah.
you said that you want where your hips line up, you want that to be facing your opponent. I know a lot of times, particularly in our A-frame style fighting, we talk about the pie, that we want our opponent to be in our pie when we fight.
Yeah.
Does that hip rotation substitute that pie?
Technically, yes. So if you do hip rotation, then you'll notice that most people with hip rotation, they don't start here and then rotate here. Well, some people do. Most people start back here with their hips already cocked, and then when they're finishing it, they're going to finish in the same position that we are.
But the answer is yes.
Yes.
Putting your hips on either side of you,
Yeah.
like the pie is making. We use the pie only because if you keep somebody in between your feet, most likely your hips are lined up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. It's a different way of visualizing the exact same thing, but yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions about that part? No? Great. All right. And Nessa said everybody looks good.
Everybody's looking good.
Thank you, Nessa.
We had a few lates, but if they're come along, I'll grab them.
That's fine. And like if you got here late and need some extra help or whatever, I will be here. I'm not going anywhere the rest of the day unless it starts lightning and then they make us leave. All right. So now we're going to talk about the shot mechanics part. Most of the body mechanics part, people can, for the most part, agree with, and it's very similar to other people, what they're teaching, so that is very agreeable. The shot mechanics part is where people start questioning. So, all right, so the shot mechanics part, we're going to start with just a flat snap, and I'm going to move this up. We're going to start with just a flat snap because what's the first shot you normally learn?
Flat snap.
Flat snap, exactly. Fantastic. That is also the shot we teach first. So this is very easy and everybody should know how to throw a flat snap. Does anybody not know how to throw a flat snap or do not understand the concept of it? Fantastic. All right. So everybody, I want you to very slowly, without your short hand, but mimic your flat snap. And I'm going to look. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yep. You already know though. Yep. Okay. Yep. Got it. Okay. Thank you. That was for me and Nessa to visually check some things. So, vast majority of you, when you're throwing your flat snap, you're here and you're extending full reach and you're opening everything up like this and it's out, right? It looks like I'm serving you. Yes? Almost everybody threw it that way. A couple you didn't. Yeah, you didn't. A few of you didn't, but most of you threw this way. And that is because when you're throwing this way or off your shoulder, even from an A-frame, and you're having the hip rotation, that makes sense. With this, if I'm just doing this, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up actually damaging my elbow because I am going to put all of that tension, all of that power, and all that force of impact into my elbow. And I don't think anybody here wants to damage their elbow. So, I mean, it's not advised. Not advised. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to kind of transfer that to a different place and it's going to be more within your shoulder. The shoulder's a little bit bigger joint. There's also a lot more muscle structure up here to absorb impact. And this also creates more time. So those of you who are fully extending, that takes time, right? We're not going to fully extend. Instead, what we're going to do is from our flat snap, we're going to get into our position, right? Excellent. Fantastic. And then what we're going to do, we're not going to actually throw a flat snap yet. All we're going to do is we're going to take our elbow and on the same plane, parallel, we're going to take our elbow and we're going to slide our elbow across without moving our other shoulder or twisting. Yeah, you're not very flexible, are you? Yeah. So those of you who are having problems with this, it's because either one of two things. You're wearing armor that's restricting your movement or you are not flexible in your shoulders. If you're not flexible in your shoulders, you should be, because it will significantly increase the lifespan of your shoulder, especially as you get older. So, just some advice there. So, if we're here, that is essentially going to be our arm. No, you're not dipping. You're just across just straight across.
Does your hand go with it or just the elbow?
We're gonna go there.
Just asking what you're asking
Yes.
us to do.
Yeah, no, just your elbow. I don't care what you're doing with your elbows. I don't care what your hand's doing right now.
Okay. No, didn't.
Okay. So now everybody kind of understands that concept, Nessa.
Yeah, there's a few people that flexibility is an issue.
Right.
There are drills that can help with that flexibility that could be covered later. But everybody can eventually get a flexibility to their elbow getting first. But the stretches, could do those after. But
Yep.
we got.
So, and I brought this for a reason. It's not just my wonderful chair. It's also a teaching device. Yay! Ooh, multi-purpose. So from here, we're going to take our little hand, and now we are going to have our hand come forward. And that is when we add it in. We teach the elbow first. Because if I try to do both, some people can't.
I was just trying. I didn't understand when you said move it over to. If you wanted the hands to stay in a position, and you were just talking about isolating the elbow.
Yeah. I was just trying to do that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this, and we want our palm to the sky at the end. Your palm can start wherever you want, but at the end, our palm is gonna be at the sky. So we do have a fantastic way that is about as unpleasant as you think it is when you add weight to train this and help you be able to stabilize and strengthen your muscle there. And then also it helps you learn, because the problem with most people when they start doing this is they dip their hand like this, or they dip their hands like this. It's a dip like this. And we want to go right on the parallel. And the best way to know if you're doing it is a mirror, but if you don't have a mirror, or if you just like to make sure you have really good balance and don't want to drop things, is you get a plate. And normally we use a weightlifting plate, but I can't bring that on a plane because I brought too many clothes, so we get this. So what I want to do here is same concept, is I'm going to do the same thing, and what I'm going to do is kind of like serving a pizza pie. I'm going to serve you the pizza pie. And as you can see, what is happening? This is forcing my elbow to come first, and then my hand can go. That's the other reason why we started using this as a tool, is because we want our elbow to go first, and then our hand to go.
Because watch what happens if the elbow doesn't go first.
If the elbow doesn't go first, the hand goes. It looks like
it starts leaning.
It starts leaning, and then you don't have a flat snap anymore. Now you have some sort of cross cut that doesn't hit very well and looks very bad, and you injure yourself. You can injure yourself, yes. So, we got 2 plates. You want to go that way? I'll go this way? All right. And now it's demonstration time. We have 3 plates. Yep.
No, you can't do not use the holes on this leg.
I know.
Not a bowling ball.
I'm not your height, but I want you to serve me that. There you go.
Yeah. I know.
Very good.
And if you're thinking to yourself, this is really hard, Antigone, I don't like this. Yes, it will take you some time. And you wanted to try it? You know what you're doing? Okay. I figured you knew what you're doing. You were here last year. Yeah. 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 You're very flexible.
I knew you could do it, Valerie.
Yeah. Yeah. And just give me the pizza pie.
I
Yep,
just
like
learned
that.
how to throw a flat snap.
Yeah.
Like two weeks ago. So
So you can win a couple more crowns.
You want to do it left-handed.
Can you win with something besides?
And you should know this because you just figured it out naturally watching the videos. Yeah, and you're keeping your elbow bent perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So a lot of you, what we'll see is we'll see you wanting to reach your opponent, and so you let your wrist and your hand drift out. We want to keep our elbow as much to a 90 as we possibly can. That is not always possible if you have things in the way, these things, or if you're really inflexible, or if you just have really developed chest muscles. It's not always a way to do it. In order to do that, if you do have that problem, we'll take the elbow and we'll either go up or below it in order to. So I throw mine above it because then it doesn't get stopped. The other thing we've added is a little bit of opening, but it's at the end. So you don't want to go here and open. It's here, and at the end I might open a little bit, but I'm not trying to reach my opponent. Yep. Yep. That's good. If you're trying to reach your opponent or you feel like you can't hit your opponent when you're doing this, it's because you are not close enough to them with your feetsies. And that is where we have to use our feet.
That's why I'm watching.
So I want you to keep it bent the whole way through. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to reach out. Yeah.
I think it's just because
And you're dipping, so I want you to try and keep it. Yeah. There you go.
Also a lot higher than I ever hold my arm for fighting.
Yeah. Great. And so, yes, this is, yes.
when you use a weight plate, how heavy of a weight plate?
yes.
How heavy do you want?
Is it as flat as that?
So is it
Like the twist
really just
is
sort of
just
adding weight to the beam to add additional?
Yeah.
resistance?
Yeah, it's to give you additional resistance. I personally now I can use a 5-pound weight, and that's what I use. I don't need a whole lot, but also my form isn't too terrible. I think the stronger you are, the more you may need it. Otherwise, if it's light, you can cheat, right? And so you want enough strength that you're having to, it is not a struggle, but you're having to really think about it to maintain.
The problem you run into is you don't want to hurt yourself.
No.
And plates tend to be 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds, and 10 pounds. And I would think a 10 pound.
I mean, we've got more than that at our house, but. So the key with it is to be able to keep it under attention enough that it makes you focus, and that's really the purpose of it, with the weight being added to it. Everybody make sense? Great, awesome.
Yeah, you were just trying. You were
Good.
You had it like this. You were giving it
Awesome.
back to come.
Good job, Tool. You did your job. Yeah. So when you're doing this, what it looks like to me is you're coming up, like you're rising. Yeah. Hey,
Flat
yeah.
this arm in here.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right.
This like
Yeah. That's better.
This helps us see.
And yeah, but you're keeping this right here, which I would, if you're gonna dip here a little bit, I'm okay with that as long as this doesn't open up. Okay. So I know we were all talking, so maybe we missed some of that. What we are thinking about here is if you do feel like you're having to reach when you're learning this, most of you, if you're learning this, are going to try it on the Pell. If you feel like you're having to open up to reach, just stand closer. You may feel like that's too close. Just stand closer at first, and then you will realize that sword tip, when it comes around, will hit the bag from your normal stance and range. It will still. Because what we're doing is, if you fight this way and I'm going here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just lengthening everything to go that way. Does that make sense, Bobby?
I didn't hear it.
Oh,
Sorry.
Jesus.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Keep going. I'll catch up.
I'm sorry.
No.
Do you want to stand over there so you can see what I'm saying?
No.
Okay.
Would you like a special class after this on your grade? I saw one. Yeah, we better.
5 more minutes and then you can have pudding.
Yeah. All right. So, with that being said, once we have this, and the reason why we do it up high is because it's just easier to see and feel. Once you understand this concept of the elbow coming down, now in order to go up and down, all I have to do is just change where my elbow is in space, right? And then if I really want to go down, I just turn my wrist this way and it'll snap the sword down, which ends up looking like this-ish. And so if I'm here and I'll get across, right, my sword's going to come here, right? And if I want to go down,
See? I'm in danger. I moved.
I'm in danger, right? And all I'm doing is just changing the level of where my shoulder and my elbow is to throw the exact same shot. And then if I want to go all the way down, all I'm going to do is just relax my hand more. And it'll throw straight down and with the same power.
So it's just your wrist is directing the angle of the blade. Really,
Yeah.
your arm doesn't ever point down all the way.
No, because if my arm
You're
went...
not going past here.
Right.
basically.
So if my arm pointed all the way down here, what do I have to do once I'm here?
Pull it back up.
Pull it back up. Yeah.
Right. So if I'm here, what do you think I have to do to pull it back up?
Roller shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm following.
Yeah. So I don't have to recover my whole arm. Like down here, I'm like, throw it like down here. I have to recover my whole arm to get it back up. If I'm throwing it here, I can come back into a block.
You're just tightening it up.
Yeah, all I gotta do is just
Yep.
do a bicep curl and there I am, right?
Okay.
So what does that gain me? It gains me time. Exactly. Which is kind of the whole point. When you're fighting with two weapons, it's very important to create both offense and defense at the same time. And if both of your hands are offensive and defensive at the same time, it gains you a lot of time. It gains you a lot more options. It also causes a lot of people to be very confused with what you're doing. And then at some point, if you get good enough, you look like Sven. But, but the point is that I can be offensive and defensive in both my hands at the same time. Because if I'm throwing this shot like this, right, where is my hand, if they're right-handed, where is my hand now at the end of my shot?
Here, let me
Branos.
grab a sword. Give me a popper, please. Thank you. This is a really important fact, and we'll try to shoot it just like this.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So if I'm throwing it here, where is my hand in space, right? If I'm trying to throw a flat snap, it's going to end in space in his lane of, we call it lanes.
And this is a headshot.
Yeah.
Now she's going to throw, right? She still has this ability
Right.
to make that block.
And most people aren't going to throw it at the same time.
Right.
But if I had another weapon,
Right, yeah, so
I
go
could
ahead and throw it.
I could throw here. I'm covering, and then once I'm covered, I can
Secondary
immediately secondary weapon. I can throw as I recover very easily. Or if I'm going to recover here, you'll see a lot of the R2 sword fighters. They'll throw and then they'll come out and they don't recover this big sweep cover. They recover here,
And then they're ready for another.
and then they're already chambered with their elbow to do an offside or a Molyneux or whatever. But from here, they're already chambered, and the offside just rolls out.
I think the critical point people remember is that sword is coming across the striking zone.
Yes.
If you leave your striking zone open, that's actually the most direct way somebody can hit you.
Correct, which we do not want. So we are trying to essentially keep our hand in that zone as we're throwing offensively to also be a defensive position at the end of it.
Sorry, buddy.
So if you don't have your hand all the way extended, then you have complete openness everywhere, right? But if my hand isn't extended, I am covering, even by the end of my shot, the entirety of it, other than some really extreme angles. Yes?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just.
Oh, okay.
This is the problem with the class. Everyone's like, yes?
Yes? Yes. I know. Okay. So that is the purpose behind it. There is one other piece of this that I didn't go over. I probably should have done it a little bit first. And that is how we hold our sword. So with this, it seems really, so if you have your sword in like a hammer grip, which a lot of people use, and you don't have a trigger, then it's going to be really hard for you to relax the wrist to finish this shot. It's going to look like this, right? Which we see people do. So we adjusted for that, and we took a fencing modified saber grip. So anybody who's ever heard of that or done fencing, you will know exactly what that is. You know exactly what that is. And so what that is a much longer grip. Instead of me holding my sword like this, I'm actually going to hold my sword like this.
You show
it on one with no basket.
Yeah, that's great. That is wet, ma'am.
Sorry. It was in the rain.
Where's it? Okay, I was going to say, where's the pen? Okay, so a lot of people, they fight like this, right? How many of you fight with holding your sword like this? Maybe? You don't know? If you don't know. It switches? You switch it up? Okay, fair. So, if my hand is here and under tension, I can't release my wrist. It's physically not really possible. And if you can do that, you're probably going to end up hurting your wrist at some point. So, by extending my hand, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my palm across like this instead of here. So, and then my little thumb and my finger are going to grip it like this. And then my fingers are going to splay down in a much longer grip. And so from here, all these two fingers are doing is really directing it, and it kind of rolls off of my pinky. I can also throw this way. I can also throw it this way. I don't need all the fingers. But this longer grip, what that allows me to do is it allows me to release it and still get the rotation. Rather than here, I'm stuck here, and here, I can go all the way around. Make sense?
No, totally.
Here. So if I'm here, yeah? Anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay.
Do you have to completely rebuild the sword if you want to add something like this?
Maybe. That depends. So I will talk about my handles. We carve all of our handles specific to our hands. So because I have little bitty child-like hands, mine have to be carved in a really weird way. So all of mine look like almonds, technically. So what that is if my grip is going to be like this in my hand, it looks like an almond, essentially, right? So all of my swords are carved like this, so it fits perfectly in my hand to be able to do this. That means it's a lot narrower, and that has some other problems sometimes, so I end up adding an extra grip to kind of help build it up a little bit back. But the other thing that we have that helps us a lot is triggers within our swords. We use 3 fingers in our triggers. Who has triggers? Yeah, most people have triggers. If you don't have triggers, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to, because again, if my hand is in here and it's splayed like that, I can just release it, and then all I have to do is close my hand and it kind of comes back with the trigger, which is very helpful. Some people only use 1 finger, or they'll use 2. The problem that we have found over time and with repetition is that 1 finger, almost everybody who's used that ended up having a lot of significant joint pain in their hand and arthritis. So then they were like, well, we'll do 2. And we still have the same problem if you have really small hands or not very strong hands like me. And if it's here, it still crushes that and causes issue. With 3 fingers, I have it mostly here and under control, and that's splayed across all 3 of my joints instead of just 1 or 2.
What about 2 in, 1 on top?
What do you mean 2, 1 on top?
So
Some people put their 2 middle fingers in and have the top on top of the trigger.
I do my bottom 2,
Or
the top 2 fingers go on top of my trigger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have your trigger your trigger secured all the way down, or do you have like a flippy loopy thing? Flippy loopy thing.
Flippy
loopy thing, technically. So it looks like this in my
That's the
hand.
actual technical term, yes.
Yes.
I do the same thing. I just use a leather strap.
Oh, okay.
I just put my bottom 2 fingers.
Here, show me. Interesting.
I do it like that because I can open it up better.
Okay.
But I feel like I have more control of the sword when I release, when I've got my fingers on top.
How long have you been fighting with it like that?
4 years.
Okay.
Have you tried the other way?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't hold my sword. I threw my sword multiple times.
Okay. How big is your hand? Let me see. Oh, that's why. What's up, baby? I demonstrated why. Excellent. Hands-on demonstration. So these are technically these are all different concepts we put together, and then the final part of this is putting it and smushing it all together, right? So the last part of this is lining up our body mechanic with then our shot mechanic. Because if we just do our shot mechanic, it's not going to really have much power unless we've already discovered you're very large or have lots of upper body mass. If you just do the body mechanic but not the shot mechanic, you're also going to lose power potentially or injure yourself, which we do not want to do because repetitive injuries will happen eventually to all of us at some point. Let's reduce the risk of that. So in order to put it all together, it's going to kind of look like it's, again, a kinetic chain, but now we're going to add the arm part. So from here, I'm driving forward. And the end should be my hips are pointed at what I'm going to be hitting on my opponent. Thank you, Bobby. And that's where it should be ending. So if I'm going to, let's say I want to go over here. Okay, so my sword's going to hit there. Shabba! It's that simple. And that's very small. So how much movement do you guys make when you're fighting to throw a flat snap, right? Versus how much am I demonstrating, right?
If I'm doing it well with good mechanics.
Right, exactly. So, and that's kind of the whole fundamental basis of this. And that's the basic point and principle, is that once I line this up, it looks very small. There's also very little tell. There's not much for you to read or prep or get ready for. And then plus, because I'm going to throw, if I'm here, I can throw anywhere I want. And as we discovered in Tim's class earlier, if you throw the flat snap in certain ways, it can look like anything coming in. You don't know, is that a flat snap? Is it an offside? Or are they going to throw them all in A? And this also kind of uses some of those principles of deception with that, because you can, once you're here, once you get to this point, your hand can then determine how to finish the shot, right? As we've discovered earlier. You can.
No, I'm asking how do you do that?
So for offside here, then I'm just going to take my elbow, and my elbow is just going to go here. Yeah, so I'm not going to straighten it at the end. I'm going to keep it bent. Yeah, every shot we throw, we do not want ideally we want our elbow to be close to a 90-degree angle. Yes.
So with this mindset of us trying to throw a shot in a way that protects our elbow.
Yeah. That's part of it, but yes.
What is, in the effort to improve our overall form, what range does this style of delivering a shot work best in?
Do you mean range as in skill range? Okay, gotcha. I was like, you're talking about skill range, distance range?
I feel like by not extending your arm all the way, you're pulled more into a very close B, almost A range.
Yeah.
Bordering on A range. What have y'all found?
So we found that we can fight at the same distance as everybody else. Okay. It's not a problem. So it's a problem for me because I'm short. Yeah. So how long is your sword? You don't know. Okay.
You're talking to the guy who didn't know how big his hands were.
Look, he's the one asking the question. So most of our swords go anywhere from 34 to 36 inches. So they're really not that much longer than that. Some of them are, but a lot of times they're not. And we have a couple people that fight two sword that their swords are not identical in length. The left will typically be longer than the right, and the reason why is so that it gives you the right hand to do in close, because your left is, if it's too long, you're not gonna be able to do that. So that gives you extra ability to do it at range and then close in. Kind of depends also on how tall you are, how much your arm reaches, and so forth. But if you're having to reach or break at the hips and lose the posture to reach that, then what should I do instead? I should use my feet. So with this, you will find if you're a really stationary fighter, you're going to have to be a little bit less stationary. Most 2-weapon styles require you to be, you cannot be stationary with them anyway. Like, you just can't. So you will end up using your feet a lot, and they're not big steps, and you can learn all that footwork in the footwork classes that they already filmed earlier this week. Yes. All right. You're welcome. Any final questions that you think the whole group needs to hear? No? Okay, great. Excellent. Am I done? Was that time? Did I do it good? Yeah.
I'd like to see that recovery that you mentioned earlier.
Okay. The recover. Oh, into the here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can show you that. Yeah, I can show you that. I can show you that. You done? Is it